Waveman here with part 1 in a series I'm going to do, which is called RB Noob. RB Noob stands for Realistic Battle Noob. The reason for that title is very simple. I'm a realistic battle noob. Played a lot of arcade, probably a good over 100 hours, but I've played very little realistic battles, and I thought I would get into it. So here I am in the Saipan event, a realistic battle. I am flying Japanese, obviously. And I get into my first battle. So this was a learning experience, and I'm hoping that maybe you'll learn something too along with me. First encounter I make is coming in from altitude, which I normally do in arcade battles, coming down on an opponent, but I make one critical mistake. I forget that this is realistic battles. And in realistic battles, that's what happens when you dive in too fast. Your wing gets sheared off. So I have to remember that warning actually means something in realistic battles. So there we go. 10 minutes into the battle, and I'm already dead without any kills. So I decide to come in for the next battle. Let's give it another go, like those little guys waving as you fly off your carrier. Again, the Saipan event, and this time I'm determined to actually engage in battle without getting my wings sheared off. So once I get to the battle area and see some enemies, I decide to take it a little slower on the approach, meaning kind of weave my way down, see a ally and an enemy dueling down here, and decide to go down and help my ally. Try and get on the Corsair 6. Do a little bad aiming, but then I managed to get on his 6, and there we go. Get the kill. So that makes me a little happier. We've got one kill, still have plenty of ammo, and I can continue with this game. I see now an ally and an enemy engaged in a dogfight and decide to help my ally out. Don't really have to worry about the wing shear at this point because they are at similar altitude as myself. So I make the approach in, and I see the enemy diving on my ally, who splits off. Gives me an opportunity to attack the enemy fighter, and after missing a few times, get on his 6 and manage to blow his wing off. So there's kill number 2. So a fairly successful match there. I end up getting engaged with a B-24 after it, getting damaged, and before I can get back to my base the game ends. So it wasn't a bad match. So we decide to go into a third match. And again, I take a meandering approach coming down upon a fighter. This match is going to get close to the ground, and I'm going to end up in a furball. So I'm going to keep quiet, let you watch the action, and then I will make some commentary at the end. So as you can see, my engagement in the furball ended up unsuccessful. I managed the kill, but of course I paid for it by dying. So let's look at a few of the mistakes I make. Here's mistake number 1. Come down on this Corsair here, and I'm overshooting him, which gives him the perfect opportunity to get on my 6. Fortunately for me, the Corsair ends up engaged in a head-on with one of my allies who appears to take him out, or at least burn him up. So I managed to escape that one. Next mistake, I come around and come in to try and help out an ally. He's got a Hellcat on his 6, and I'm approaching to try and get the Hellcat off his 6. But my aim is not particularly true, and I miss the Hellcat and do not help my ally out at all. To my defense, I was very much trying not to hit my ally, so my aim was not particularly good, but I didn't want to kill him. Managed to come around, same plane, that's the Hellcat up high, my ally is down low. See a Corsair come in and almost take my ally out, but he misses. In this case, the Hellcat makes the mistake. He's trying to evade my ally, he ends up going high, he's bleeding off energy, and as a result, I am able to catch up to him. So between my ally and myself, we're peppering this guy, and it's just a matter of time before he makes, there it is, the kill. So, that error cost him his life. So that completes the single matches I did by myself. A friend of mine, Bryzone BDA, who also plays War Thunder, happened to pop on after I finished this match, and then the two of us decided to do this event cooperatively. So here we are in the cooperative match. I flipped the camera on so it's filming as we're
There's another one near him too.
This match is worth analyzing because I do a few things right and one thing wrong in this match. As usual, I try to come in from a position of altitude. I am searching below for any kind of target within the battle area, spot several different enemy fighters, and eventually decide to dive down on one of them. Third one's even closer. They're coming up here. So as you'll notice, I'm trying to get on one of the enemy fighters, but without losing too much of my altitude, because I know there are several other enemies around, and I don't want to become a target. So as you can see here, I've chosen a target. I am attempting to get on his 6. He's attempting to maneuver away from me. And I'm trying to keep altitude as I come down on him. So now I'm gotten in a good position, get a few shots off on him. End up getting a critical hit on him, and then he is making a dive to attempt to get away from me. So at first I'm following him, but then I decide to allow him to go because I don't want to lose my altitude and continue to dive after him because there are several other enemies around. So letting him go turned out to be the correct choice because, as you can see, an enemy is coming right up on me. I managed to elude him as he's firing at me, and then we start a turning battle. Fortunately, my Zero is a bit more maneuverable than his Corsair, using some rudder controls and turn, and I am able to avoid him getting on my tail and then come around so that I can get on his tail myself. So he starts to dive away at this point. I consider following him, but something tells me I should keep altitude, and there you go. Turns out to be the right decision because another enemy was coming up on me. So these are some of the things I did right in this battle. Start turning on this individual to attempt to get on his 6, but he quite wisely uses his energy advantage and the speed of his plane to try and run for me. So that was the smart thing for him to do instead of trying to turn with my plane, which is much more maneuverable. Fast forward a little bit, and now I'm in a high position looking down on several enemies engaged with friendly fighters. So I come down looking for a target as I approach, and I find a likely victim. come in, fire a little tracer ammunition to get my bead on him, and then fire my cannon off, and there's the kill. So now I turn around to get a little distance between me and the rest of the pack, and look around to see what they're doing. So I see them, I'm coming around, I pick out another likely target. The one closest to me seems to be turning into me. Unfortunately my aim fails, but I'm able to turn and get on his 6. So here's where I make a major error. I fire at this individual on a 6 while I'm being fired at by another plane. I figure I'll stay on him and potentially trade my death for the kill, but of course, if that fails, as you can see, my plane is damaged, loses control, and is going down for the count. So, analyzing what I did wrong here, I ran out of 22mm cannon ammunition and tried to kill the plane in front of me with my two 30 caliber machine guns. But of course I didn't have enough power to take him down quickly, and the enemy behind me did. So he ended up taking me down quickly. What I should have done in this scenario was to have broken off from the attack and come around, because I knew that there were at least 3 enemies behind me, and I should have guessed that one of them would come around on my 6. So, lesson learned. I hope you enjoyed this first installment of RB Noob, and if you have any commentary, please leave it below, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Look for future videos on the same topic.